Do you know people who wake up at 3 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving for those killer Black Friday deals? How do they do it? I'm still recovering from all the cleaning and cooking and cleaning again from the day before. Heck, my stomach is still digesting pumpkin pie at 3 in the morning. Hats off to all those Black Friday diehards. Like last year, though, I'm staying in my PJs and grabbing those killer Cyber Monday deals. This year, I've got my gift-giving budgets back, and trust me, I'll squeeze it to the max. Rumor has it that Barmaids has another to die for Cyber Monday special. Did you know that when you purchase a sampler pack from Barmaids, you get a 15% off coupon? The samplers alone make perfect stocking stuffers, but the extra 15% means I'm prepared. Don't wait. After purchasing the sampler pack with the coupon code in hand, the Barmaids Cyber Monday deal is a steal.
Hi, and welcome to Knitting Blooms. Today is Saturday, November 24th, and this is episode number 82. My name is Tina, also known as Bloomingknitter, and welcome to the show. I hope everybody had a fabulous Thanksgiving. I cooked Thanksgiving dinner here at our house, which I do every year. I like my traditional recipes and stuff for Thanksgiving. So it's pretty much the only time of year that I cook everything completely from scratch. I mean, there's things that I'll cook from scratch throughout the year, but Thanksgiving is the one time that here comes Crystal. That I cook everything from scratch and I don't use anything out of a box. I'm a big box, or like if I was making stuffing normally during the year, I would just buy Stouffer's and use it out of the box. And but I make homemade stuffing. Now I do buy the breadcrumbs. I don't do my own breadcrumbs. That's just way too much work. But I do mashed potatoes and gravy and everything from scratch, and it's always a fabulous, fabulous meal. And I did stuff myself a little bit too much, almost to the point of nausea. But, for one day a year, whatever, it was an awesome meal and it was well worth it. So, but again, I hope everybody had a fabulous Thanksgiving. I think today's show is going to be somewhat shorter than it has been. The last few episodes have been over an hour, so I know it's going to be shorter than that. But also because I have not done a whole lot of knitting. Yes, I had Thursday and Friday off, but Thursday most of the morning was spent cooking, and then the afternoon was spent eating and visiting with family. So I did do a little bit of knitting in there when we were kind of at a lull point, but for the most part, I didn't do a whole lot of knitting on Thursday. And yesterday, on Friday, we spent a good majority of the day doing work in the bedroom. And so, I did do some knitting last night, but not a huge amount of knitting. And then today, this morning, I've spent all morning playing Sims. Yeah, I got the new Sims 3 Seasons, which is an expansion pack to Sims 3, and I'm just having a ball with it. I mean, I always have a lot of fun with the new expansion packs when they come out, but this is one of my favorite seasons. From Sims 2 was one of my favorite expansion packs, and it just seemed like they were holding off on seasons for Sims 3 for so long, and I'm just glad that it's finally here, and I'm really enjoying playing it. So, needless to say, not a whole lot of knitting has been done. I have been doing some simple knitting while I've been playing Sims, but not anything complicated at all. So there might not be too much knitting going on in the next week. I almost didn't buy the new expansion pack because I knew that I was going to get sucked in and I wouldn't get anything else done. And that's exactly what's happened. I did force myself yesterday, like I said, to work on the room rather than play Sims yesterday, but I did play quite a bit last night, and I've been playing all morning this morning. So, but this afternoon, Steve and I are going to go and look for a couch. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago or a month or so ago that Steve wanted to get a new couch for the living room, and I just don't think that we need a new couch, but he just keeps saying that he wants to get a new sectional for the living room. Our living room is not that big, so I don't know how he thinks that a sectional is going to work in there, but I'm going to humor him and go and look for a new couch with him, so we'll see what happens, because our living room is only like 10 by 12 or something like that, so he wants to get this massive sectional couch. I'm like, we're not going to have anywhere to walk, but anyway, we'll see how that goes. So yeah, we're going to go do that. And then another thing that has inspired me from the Sims game is we are going to go to Katana, which is a Japanese restaurant, for dinner tonight. We used to go to this restaurant every single week. We had our own waiter and our own chef that we would go to, but the waiter has since become a bartender at the same restaurant, so he's not. I mean, we go to see him there, but we don't get to have his service. And then our chef has gone to a different restaurant, so we haven't been there as much anymore. But I was looking at some of the new things that you can purchase on the Sims store, and there is a new hibachi grill on Sims, and I was reading the information about it, and I'm like, oh man, we should go to Katana. So we're gonna do that this evening too, after we do our little shopping for the furniture. So there probably won't be too much knitting going on this afternoon either, because we will be out and about. And then maybe tomorrow I'm gonna get back into that bedroom, because we still have a lot more to go. I want to start by mentioning again the Share Your Love, or Share the Love contest. To win these fabulous bags, these are all from Girl Cave Bags. This is the small little Notions pouch. I showed this last week, but I want to show it again because I want people to see what they could win. This is a cute little pouch that you can put your Notions in, or whatever, just small little things that you need, your darning needle or what have you. And then this is a little sock bag that's a good size for a little sock project. My thought is that you know, if you're one of those people that works on just one sock at a time, you could use this bag for a sock project or another small knitting project. I can't use this size bag for a sock project because I do both socks at the same time, so I wind the ball and then split it in two so I can work on both socks, and this bag just is not quite big enough for that. But this bag is. This is the, I think this is the large wedge I think that she has. And it is a good size bag. And I have been using this, which I'll show you when I get to that project. And I really like this bag. It is nice, a nice big bag, and it like kind of holds itself open, so you don't have to worry about, if you have your yarn sitting down in there, catching on the zipper. And actually, I didn't notice this before, but the zipper is really nice. It doesn't seem like it would catch yarn at all. It's very, very nice. So, and these are all from Girl Cave Bags, and the way that you can get a chance to win these is to go and share the love by posting a written review on any knitting podcast on iTunes, and then go to the thread in Ravelry and say which podcast you put a comment on, and post the comment. So go out there and share the love, and you could have a chance to win one of these or all of these Girl Cave bags. It's going to come as a set, so one person will win all three of these. Fabulous, fabulous prize. So now that is out of the way, that I can put that aside, wrap it up, and keep it all fresh, I'm going to talk to you about my projects this week. And although there hasn't been that much knitting, I kind of didn't work on the projects that I had going very much at all, because I started and finished a bunch of stuff. Craziness. I'll start with my pom-pom scarves. Who was I watching? I can't remember now. I was watching a podcast this week, and they talked about getting some of this yarn. Maybe it was Wendy and Sheila. I don't remember. Anyway, they talked about this yarn and how cats love it, and it reminded me that I had 2 of these skeins in my stash because I love these scarves. I think it was last winter that I gave my scarf away to a little girl who just fell in love with it. I had it on the back of my chair when we went to a birthday party for Steve's aunt. And the little girl that was sitting at the table behind us, who was at the party too, I don't remember whose child she was, but I had it laying over the back of my chair, and she was just fondling it and rubbing her face on it, and she just thought it was the best thing ever. So when we left for the evening, I let her have my scarf. And so I haven't had one since then. And I love the scarf. It is so warm, and it is so soft. And I would actually like to make a blanket out of it, but one skein only does this. And so that's a pretty small little thing, and you would need probably a bunch of them to make a decent sized blanket. If you made it the same width as this, it would work, but you would need it a lot longer. But it is soft and cuddly, and truthfully, if I had something like this as a blanket, the cats would get to it, and I think they would tear it to shreds. But it is awesome. It's awesome for a gift, for a quick knit. I knit this up in a couple of hours at work. I started it in the morning, and it was done by early afternoon. And these are the pom-pom scarf, and this is the other one that I made. This is actually the color of the one that I gave away, and this is my favorite color, but this more closely matches my coat. So I made 2 of them. I made one day, and then the next one the other day. So now I've got that out of my stash, and it only took a couple hours for each of them. And yes, it's a very quick knit. Like I said, it only took me a couple hours. The pattern is free on the ball band. It was on this one, but not on this one. It wasn't. This one had a different pattern on it. But I took a picture of it, and I am going to post the pattern on my project page, because if I ever want to make another one of these, and for whatever reason they take the pattern off of the ball band, I need to remember how it's done. So those are 2 finished objects right there. So crazy. And then on Saturday last week, I mentioned that we were going to go to a play, and I was going to try and get my heel done on my socks so that I could take my socks with me, but I was concerned that the socks, because my socks that are my stripy socks that I'm working on are on 00s, and I was concerned that trying to work on them in the dark was going to be a little bit too difficult. So instead, I cast on, let me see which ones. I cast on 2, I think it was these 2 preemie hats. I cast on, and I got the ribbing started so that I could, no, I guess it was these 2, because these are smaller, so that I could get it going. And then I worked on these. I got one almost completed before the play started, through dinner and stuff like that. And then I worked on the other one. At one point, and I forgot what the pattern was, so that's why these are a little bit smaller than the other ones, because I decreased every round for the crown instead of every other round. So they're a little bit smaller, but I'm sure they'll fit some preemie. So there's those 2. And then after that, I thought those were so quick, I would make 2 more. So I've made 4 preemie hats this week. And there's the other 2. And I already had 3 made. Here's 2. These were already made from before. And then this is another one. So I just need to weave in all the ends, because they're all still have all the ends that need to weave in. And I just figured I would knit up a bunch of these and then donate them all at one time, maybe once I get about a dozen of them. I have 7 right now. So, yeah, so I'll just weave in the ends and probably keep knitting up a few more. I have yarn in a bag here that I just keep, and I'm going to make a few more, and then once I get a dozen, I'll figure out where I'm going to send them. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will be collecting preemie hats at some point, and I'll just save them up until I hear of somebody that needs them. But I'll want to get at least a dozen before that. And then the next thing, I thought, okay, preemie hats are great, but not all babies are preemies. And I know that Angela, my friend Angela, is collecting hats for, she's kind of doing a charity called Mama's Boys, and she's collecting baby hats for Huron Sinai Valley, or Huron Valley Sinai, or something like that, in Michigan. I think it's Port Huron. So I knit up this baby hat using the pattern that they have. I think it was almost exactly what they had. So I made one hat, which again worked up real quickly. It's on size, I think I used size 7 needles. The yarn calls for a size 6, but the pattern is written for sport or baby yarn, which is what this is, which is Mary Maxim Mellow Spun. And this calls for a size 6 needle, but the pattern called for a 7 or 8 for sport or baby. So I just used a size 7 because I thought 8 might be a little bit too big, and I knit that one up. And I also have some pink in here that I'm going to make a couple of pink hats. I'm pretty sure that I can get definitely one more hat, but possibly 2. I'm not sure. I haven't weighed the hat to find out. But I figure I'll make up a few hats for Mama's Boys, and get those off to Angela so she can donate those when she donates the ones that she's working on. So that was another finished object. So that was a lot. I mean, they're all small little quickie projects, but you know, I just got carried away with doing those little hats, and I'll probably finish, do a few more of them, and then I'll probably start making hats for like the homeless and stuff like that too, because I've got plenty of yarn. And then last week, after I showed you my sock yarn blanket, I got motivated and I did 7, maybe 8 more squares. Let me see, where was I? 8 more squares. So let me show you what I've got. So here, this marker was where I was last week, and I did this square and this square. And again, I still have not woven in any of my ends. I better get working on them. So all 3 of these squares here, and this one, and this one, and this one, this one, and this one. So it's coming right along. I still have a ton more to do. I mean, it's going to take me forever. But these are another quick little thing. They take about 45 minutes, a half hour to 45 minutes to make a square, and it goes quick, and I can use different yarns and just have fun with it. So I love it. This one, I think this one, this one, this one, this one, all of these I think I got from swaps. This one I think was Fiber Nymph. I was trying out. I think this was the yarn that we got at Knittin' in the Mitten, that she's going to have a new colorway coming next year, I think. But I don't think I have some of her bounce base, but I don't think I've ever knit with it. So it was kind of nice to be able to try that out. So lots and lots of fun. I'm hoping that I can keep up my motivation to keep working on this. I need to really motivate myself to weave in the ends because it's getting a little unruly. At one point I was saying that I would weave in the ends on the row before I move on to the next row, and I kind of didn't do that this time, so I need to go back and do that so that I don't get too crazy. So now I can move my marker to the new spot. Move it before I forget, because I just don't know when I'm going to work on this again, and there you go. So sock yarn squares, eight more squares this week, so that's pretty good. And I have my bag full of, these are just the ones that I'm planning on using soon. Believe me, I have lots and lots of sock yarn for that. Okay, so that's my sock yarn blanket. The mittens, my autumn turning mittens for the knit-along, no work done on those this week. I got to thinking, should I go ahead and rip them out or just continue up and try to do the like the afterthought thumb, and I just couldn't decide. I think I have decided that I am going to just continue up and try the afterthought thumb, because worst come to worst, I can always just do it again. So we'll try that, but I didn't work on those at all this week. They kind of took a little bit more brain power than what I was wanting to spend on them, but I will be getting back to those this week. What else? The halyard for Knitopia, I did work on that briefly last night. I've got a tiny smidgen done. The rows are getting much longer. I have completed 5 full repeats, and I'm on the 6th repeat. I have the 6th and the 7th repeat, and then I need to decide if I'm going to do the lace border or if I will do another repeat and then do the eyelet border like I did mine. But I probably won't show you that until I'm done, or until I at least get to the border, if I decide to do the lace border, because really there's really nothing new on that, just knitting along. So we went to the movie the play on Saturday, but then on Sunday we were going to go to Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2. And because those hats went so quickly, I thought, I didn't want to start 2 more hats on Sunday, and I wanted to be able to take something with me to the movie, so I cast on a new pair of socks. Crazy! And here is where I am right now. And this is yarn that I dyed. It is actually wool to dye for sock yarn. It is 100% merino superwash. Here's the card. And I think this is the same yarn that I'm making my mittens out of. This is something that I dyed quite a while ago, but I love it. When I do variegated socks, I don't like to have pooling and striping effect, and this is turning out exactly the way I like it. I like to have it very variegated. Now you can see a little bit of a line somewhat like that, but I think it's variegated enough to what I'm looking for. And I really, really like it. I like the how the color is a little deeper in some areas and not so deep in others. It's kind of encouraging me to do more of my own dyeing, just to get bare yarn and then dye it. So, but because I am doing these on size 0 and my mittens are on size 0, that means that this pair of 0 needles only has 1, because the other one is on the mittens. So I might be forced to buy more higher zeros so that I can start my second sock, because I haven't started my second sock yet. But this was perfect for going to the movie. I started it, I got through the toe before the movie, and then we went to the movie and I worked on it. And there is one small mistake, which I don't know if you'll be able to see, but right there, just above my finger, somehow I increased a stitch in the movie theater. But the funny thing is that I figured it out and was able to decrease it back down. I think we were still in the movie theater. So it was pretty crazy. But I made it work, and it's not that big of a deal that there's a little mistake on it. Nobody's going to be looking at my foot, because my foot is going to be in my shoe. So that's another project that got started this week. So I started and finished the preemie hats, the baby hats, the pom-pom scarves. I started these. I worked on my sock yarn blanket. Stuff that was not planned. So now I can talk to you about the things that I actually had on the needles last week. I know, a little crazy. So we'll start with the Even Star. And last week I talked about ripping it out or ripping back to before the color change and redoing it a different way, and I decided that I'm not going to do that. That I just left it the way that it was, and I figure the next time I do a color change, I'm going to change it to the 1 2 2 1 rather than the 2 4 4 2. I left it. I think it'll be okay. It's not that big of a deal. So here is, and I didn't do that many rows since last week. So there is my marker from last week. So I've done that much. But you know, really, when you're working with 560 stitches on the needles in lace weight, it takes a while to do. Cody, can you sit still, please? So I did keep it on the needles. I thought about it, and I thought about the fact that I did all the Russian joins, and I would have to figure out where those were and cut those out, which I don't think would be that big of a deal once I ripped it out and figured it out. I think they would be easy to find. But then I have all my stitch markers on there, which again, I was going to rip it out to a point where there wasn't stitch markers, so that wasn't going to be such a big deal, but I just decided I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to worry about it. It'll be fine. So I think I did maybe 6 or 8 rows. It's hard to tell because it's in this patterning section. I probably should have put the stitch marker a little bit in a different section where I could have followed the pattern a little bit better, which while I'm thinking about it, I might as well move now. So, but I think I did maybe about 6 rows. But I will move it to this section over here so that next week it'll be easier. And hopefully by next week I'll be on to the next part of this chart. I keep looking at other Even Stars after they've been finished, and they're so beautiful. And I look at mine and I'm like, well, mine doesn't have that on there. Well, it must be because it's the pattern. But it's just, when it's like this, it just looks like a balled up tissue and you can't really see the glory of it. So I am really going to be excited when, excuse me, stop. Don't chew on that. When I get it finished and I can block it all out, and it's going to be just gorgeous in this beautiful, beautiful pink. It's going to be lovely. And I probably will be making a second one. I'm sure I can find some knit-worthy people to make an Even Star for. So, but there's the color transitions. You can see how much darker it is, but, you know, whatever. It'll be fine. So there has been progress on that. I think I am still ahead of schedule, ahead of my schedule, which I'm kind of glad about. But I think that if I don't hurry up and start working on it again, I'm going to be behind schedule that quickly. What happened here? So that's Even Star. And I also worked on the Knit Swirl. I always have to be really careful with this project because this yarn is so slippery and it just slips right off the needle so easily. I did work on the Knit Swirl. Last week I mentioned that I was doing, you know, the knit welts, and then doing the yarn over, or not the yarn over, the wrap and turn, and then going back and doing the purls, but as a knit. And I decided that I really didn't like how that was turning out. It wasn't bad, but it was leaving a big open gap, and I was having to fiddle with the stitches and kind of spread out that extra yarn a little bit. So I just went back to doing everything the same direction. And I've also stopped doing the Russian join on this. Not that it's bad or that it gets too thick, but I was finding that my ends were poking out a little bit more than I wanted them to. So I've been cutting my ends again, and I haven't woven them in, but it's not that big of a deal. So here is, actually, let me show you. I should put the stitch markers on the other side, but that's how much I've done this week. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 welts done. I'm trying to hold my needles so that I don't drop stitches. 5.5 welts done this week. And let me show you the right side because it's so much prettier than the wrong side. And I should put my stitch marker. And again, it's hard because I'm trying to keep my stitches from falling off the needles. So there is the eyelet row, there's the condo row, and another eyelet row down there. So it's coming along. I think I'm on welt number 13. Yeah, I'm on welt number 13. And I know that I have to go over, well, I think it's up to like welt number 20 before I can even think about doing the, where you bind off to do the body part. So, but it's moving right along. When you're decreasing, I think it's something like 16 stitches or something, for every welt, it goes pretty quickly. And those stitches are getting smaller and smaller. I think I started with like 500 and something, and then decreasing every welt. It is the rows are getting much shorter, unlike the Even Star, which was starting with short rows and growing. This is starting with long rows and shortening, which that's a kind of a good thing, because if I was doing 2 projects that stayed at that 560 or something stitches, it would be crazy insane. So that's all my knitting progress this week. Like I said, I don't know how much progress I'm going to make this next week because of Sims, and I think I'm going to try and force myself to do some work in the bedroom every night this week, because if I don't, it's going to be forever before it's done. And I'm kind of at a standstill right now. I still have a couple small things that I can do, but Steve is moving the attic access, so I have to wait for him to create the new attic access, close up the old attic access so I can mud that. And then after we mud everything and get everything done, then it's the painting, but then he's got to rebuild the closet, and then there's more mudding. So I just don't think it's going to be done by the end of the year, but we'll see what happens. Spinning progress. I did do some spinning, not that much. I'm still on the 3rd ball of the 3 Waters merino. I didn't bring it over here because there's not really a whole lot to show you, but I didn't finish the 3rd ball. I did probably about half the 3rd ball, so I made some progress. I have not done any more on the Winding Wool Creek, which I was taking with me to work, but since I haven't been at work for 2 days, I haven't worked on that, and I really didn't work on it earlier in the week because every day I was either making baby hats or scarves or what have you. And I have not worked on the alpaca at all, which is on my ladybug wheel. I haven't even taken the bobbin off, the full bobbin. So keep those mittens coming for the mitten knit along. I looked at the group this morning, and I don't think there's been any more finished mittens. So hopefully we will see a lot more finished mittens over the coming weeks. You have until the end of the year to finish your mittens up. I have not received any more donations for Knitopia yet, except I might have received one. I've ordered a bunch of stuff this week, and I've gotten a bunch of stuff in, but I haven't really even opened it. Because of Thanksgiving, I just piled them up in the computer room, and I need to get through those boxes too. I got to start organizing that stuff. So I have no new Knittopia sponsors. If you are interested in sponsoring Knittopia, either donating a door prize or something for the goodie bags, a coupon code, or what have you, just get in contact with me and I'll let you know the details. Or you can go to the Knittopia website, which is www.knittopia.com, which has 2 T's. So I think that's it. Another week down. Like I said, I don't know how much knitting I'm going to get done this week, but hopefully I will have some progress that I can show you next week. Yeah. So we are off to go couch shopping. Not that I really want to do that, but anyway, that's all for now, and I will talk to you next week. I hope your knitting blooms this week, and I hope you have a great week after Thanksgiving. Bye for now.